I'm not feeling good about this war.
I'm not feeling good about all these missing UAP scientists. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's happening with the war right now, right? So we're supposed to have this ceasefire. It looks very tenuous, and that it's going to fold any minute because
Is
part
it
of
really a
the
ceasefire when Israel's bombing Lebanon?
right, right. So it was never a ceasefire, and both sides are claiming breach, right? Iran is saying Lebanon's still being bombed by Israel, and Trump is saying the strait is closed. So there's breach of the agreement, the ceasefire agreement on both ends.
So here's the
Um,
thing about this 10-point plan, right? Like
mhm,
before this war started, the strait was open. And
mhm,
so by closing it as
mhm.
a result of the, Israeli and American, attacks on Iran, um, they basically bought themselves a bargaining chip. And it seems like Trump, in his typical chickening out fashion, which in this case is a good
It's
thing, but
Taco
it seems like,
Tuesday.
right? But it seems like all that's come of this is that Iran is getting 10 points of things that they want, and
Mhm.
the US is getting what was happening before this war
Exactly.
started.
Right. So as of this morning, Trump said NATO better step in, or perhaps the US will leave NATO. Um, they need to step it up. And a week ago, he was saying that the US doesn't need NATO to do anything. So, like, there's this constant mixed messaging, which I can only attribute it to an insane old guy.
Right.
Just like saying, we're liberating you, Iran. We're here to liberate you and help you, the beautiful people of Iran. And then there's a Truth Social post saying, hey, we're just going to kill all of you.
Right. But God bless the people of Iran in the
Right.
same post.
Hmm.
It's
So,
there's I mean, we've known for a while that there are madmen running this world, but now they seem to be completely unchecked. There are
unhinged.
unhinged, and Congress isn't doing their job of taking back war powers.
Right. And his cabinet, Trump's cabinet, like, how disgustingly power hungry, vile, and corrupt do you need to be to not try and remove him via the 25th Amendment at this point? Because
Right.
he's gone off the rails. Like, there's like no one even has a question anymore.
Well,
Like,
I
even
now I have
MAGA people like Megyn Kelly is like, he's bananas,
and
right?
Alex Jones. Alex Jones is like,
Hmm.
"How do we get the 25th?" Like,
Hmm.
it's such a weird timeline we're on when I understand the perspective of Candace and Alex Jones,
Right.
what
Exactly.
is happening in this world.
Right. 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 Like, that I've been on the same page with Candace Owens about a few things is like distressing to me.
I know.
It's crazy. People tagging her in my posts. That's crazy. That's
I sent
crazy.
her
And
a
people tag her
DM.
on my Instagram posts like every day.
I
You
sent
know?
her a DM because we have a common enemy, I guess you could say. And I found some dirt on this particular person who's somebody that's out spreading awful lies about Epstein survivors. And I found
Mm-hmm.
out that she's also this is House in Habit, Jessica Reed Krause. She's been also sending or like attacking Candace Owens too. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, Candace might want to know that Jessica Reed Krause has a lien against her company in California. And that might be a reason that she's out there seeking influencer money.
I've seen her on Instagram. I think she had followed me. I have to check.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
liked a
House
bunch
and
of my
Habit.
reels, something,
Sh-
I've
She's
seen
out
her
there
around.
with Lady Victoria Harvey, who is Prince Andrew's ex, who's out there
Mm-hmm.
defending him, saying that the photo of him and Virginia is photoshopped and it was really a picture of Epstein. And she's
Yeah,
had
okay.
15 different versions of her story. But anyway, they're
Mhm.
just pieces of work. But when I see that Jessica Reed Krause is also attacking Candace Owens, I was like, oh, hey, Candace, you might want to know about this. And I'm
Good
like,
for you.
what am I
I hope
doing
she
sending a
answers you.
DM to Candace Owens? What
I
is
know.
going on in this world?
I know. I know. Like celebrities are liking my stuff, and like I've gotten some DMs from celebrities, and it's interesting. The reach on
You know,
Instagram is incredible.
I actually was really excited, was followed by Frances Fisher, who played Ruth in the Titanic. She was
Hmm.
Rose's mom. And she has been following and liking and sharing a lot of my kind of
That's great.
activism posts. And she is going to be attending a protest that I'm putting together. So let me actually talk about this story. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about with the war right now?
I just wanted to mention this one thing. So the draft becomes automatic this year, right?
Looks like I picked the right
Um,
timeline not to have kids.
mm, well, I'm in a different boat. We'll
I
get to that in a
know.
second. But Trump made a Truth Social post this morning about he's looking forward to America's next conquest after Iran. So, you know, at my core, everything about me is maternal, right? That's first and foremost. It's always been that way, since I had my son. And those instincts. When Barron goes to the front line, then I'll think about letting. Now my son's gonna be 21 this year, right? So he's a man. So the draft is for men 18 to 25. So I mean, he makes his own decisions, but mommy already has her backup plan in place, and I can because I know some people. I have a job lined up for him that he can work anywhere in the world he chooses to work. So I'll be damned if I'm going to let him get hurt because of that orange bloated idiot in
I
the
mean,
White House. There's no way.
MAGA voter
There's no way.
kids to the front of the line, please. You
Yeah,
guys voted for this, so
my
your
my
kids
son's
can
the
be the ones
most
fighting this war.
gentle. My son's the most gentle, caring, nature loving person. There's not a violent bone in his body ever since he was a baby. He just doesn't have the capacity for any kind of like cruelty or violence, nothing. There's no way. There's just no way. I want to see Barron go and all those MAGA kids go first, and
And they
then
claim
we'll see.
that Barron can't go to war because he could be captured and like held for secrets
Aw,
and stuff like that. I'm like, well,
wah,
why
wah, wah,
the fuck
wah.
would
Too
Barron
bad.
Trump have any national secrets? He doesn't have a clearance. He shouldn't
Right.
have any secrets.
Mhm.
I mean,
And
um,
daddy dodged what, 5 times?
yeah, I guess maybe
Right.
Barron has bone spurs too.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
If
no,
I have to
as
surgically put bone spurs, if I have to go out of pocket and surgically put bone spurs on my kid, I would do that before I'd let him go because of
right.
this idiot that's in the White House. There's no way. So
And once
I just
again,
wanted to
it's
mention that.
the laws for thee and not for me when it comes to Trump
Hmm. Right,
and his
right.
family.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, I'm a New
So,
Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. I grew up with this a-hole in the 80s. We know all his tricks, all the BS, all the crazy ego driven crap he used to do, like call different reporters as John Barron talking about himself and how, incredibly attractive he is. And, Madonna wanted to date him. And he said, so this is the guy he's always been, except now he's old and demented.
Right. Yeah.
So
And
I hope
now
somebody puts the lid on him. Somebody's got to put a lid on him.
the dementia / syphilis eating away at his brain is just
Right.
making him more of who he is, and with less of a filter, as if he already had a filter.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So let's hope for the best and prepare for the worst. That's my new motto for this.
I mean, that's been my motto since 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming back around to celebrities following us on Instagram, Frances Fisher, again, Ruth from the Titanic, who was apparently, I'm going to ask her about this because I'll be seeing her in person at this protest coming up on April 21st because she's going to be there. I'm so excited. Apparently, in the scene where she's telling Rose to break up, like that she can't see Jack anymore, Frances Fisher wanted to say a line that would have made her more sympathetic and kind of help people understand that she had a good heart, given the time and the circumstances. She was really trying to look out for her daughter, but that James Cameron wouldn't let her use that line. Like, oh, good. Yes, of course, a man wouldn't want a woman to look sympathetic now, would he? But anyway, so this...
Do you know the line?
I don't. I somebody sent it to me on Reddit, so I'll find it and I'll put it up in the edit. But so let me tell you about the protest that I'm going to be that I'm putting on April 21st. It's in Ventura County at the Ventura County Courthouse, and it's going to be at 8 a.m., which I know is a really early time for a protest. But the reason for that is that there's a hearing going on at 8:30 a.m. at the courthouse for Stephen Vincent Chavez of Moore Park, California. And he is accused of raping his own daughter for 4 hours. Her uncle came home, found what was happening, had to carry her to the emergency room because she couldn't walk. And this was in July of 2025. She had just moved out from North Carolina to California. She was going to go to Moore Park College, and her dad lived really nearby. He offered to pay for her college and said that she could live with him. And less than 2 days after her moving out, he got what he claims to be is blackout drunk. This is his defense, by the way, which we know is not a good legal defense.
Not defense, right?
Especially when he has convictions going back to 2004 of alcohol and drug related charges. So in December of 2025, his daughter, Makayla Rene Settles, 18 years old, took her own life because she couldn't live with what he had done to her. This has not really gotten media attention. A lot of people are like, I don't believe this story. I haven't seen it in the media. Welcome to the life of brown people.
Right.
If you're Hispanic and something happens to you, it's not going to get media attention. If she was blonde haired and blue-eyed and that would have happened, you bet we would all know about it, says the blonde hair, blue-eyed girl. We're doing a march for Makayla. Makayla Rene Settles. There are hundreds of people who have said they're going to be there. And it's just to raise awareness of this story. Makayla's family is in North Carolina, and so they're not able to be here to share their story. So I am organizing this. You can find it on mobilize.us. It's March for Makayla. And it's just a story that I've been sharing on social media. I heard about it originally from Dr. Leslie Dobson, and she heard about it from Makayla's cousin, who is posting about it on TikTok. And it's just another one of these abusers out there. And he's
I just
walking
don't
around free right now.
understand.
He's out on bail.
I don't understand. Like I like what's wrong with people? Like,
And
was it always this way, but we just know about it more
I
now?
think
Or
so.
has the world gotten progressively more evil? I hate this timeline. We're going to be done with this. I'm going to start Googling timeline shifting. I'm ready to just shift off of this nonsense. This is just crazy. Like the world is just bananas. Is it financial strain? Like what has done this to people? Is it like
Well, do you
a
really want to
segment never
know?
evolved past like animal urges? Like
I
what is
think
it?
I think it, we're going to get into a whole separate episode on MK Ultra mind control kind of thing, but
Mhm. Mhm.
um part of another CIA project, the Gateway process or the Gateway experience, has to do with remote viewing and out of body experiences. And they talk a lot in their 26-page released CIA declassified document about the impacts of frequency on the human body and on our emotions, and how if you do frequencies a certain way, you can bypass the logical side of the brain and go to the um, creative side, or the non-logical thinking side. So the government have been manipulating us for decades, and through music they switched from 432 hertz to 440 hertz, and that shift in the way music is recorded, 432 hertz has been proven scientifically to lower the heart rate, to calm the nervous system, and they shifted that. So all music is now recorded in a higher frequency that raises our heart rate, that gets us more like in that fear state. So there's been a lot of manipulation of even just like how we listen to things, that I think impacts our nervous system, puts us in a constant fear state, and and bypasses our logical brain. And so I think when that is being done to us, an entire society, we start to see more school shootings and rapes and violence and depression and all these things that keep us doom scrolling and feeding more into that cycle.
I get it about the fear. It's because it's hard not to have fear, right? The way the world has been for at least 2 decades. It just the systemic pressure outside of the frequency, etc. Just systemically, the way things have changed. Going back to Nixon pushing the HMO idea, and that refusing healthcare claims is the way to, blow that industry up economically in a positive, what he considered a positive way, right? Without any kind of moral consideration or ethical consideration behind that. It's just very hard to survive and have quality of life. That's like the only thing that stops me from constantly arguing with MAGA people. Because I go back to, I'm so blessed. I have such a good quality of life. I retired at 48, take trips. My son's doing well. He's a freaking rocket scientist.
No
What
big deal.
else can I ask for, right? And even I will get sometimes in that fear state. Even I will get in that fear state sometimes. Like when the market dips a lot. Now the market can dip a lot and I'm still fine. Other people are not, right? So I mean, I get it, and I agree that that's society's being controlled, and it has been controlled for many, many, many years now, right? By fear. They
Yeah.
got to keep people in check. That's the only way to keep the vibration of the planet depressed, to stop us from evolving, right? Ascending into higher levels of consciousness where we all agree that all of this is bullshit, right? It's fear. Fear's the way to do
Getting
it.
to that 5D that we got like mysteriously interrupted when we were talking about last time.
Mhm.
You know, of just of elevating as a species and as a
Mhm.
consciousness. There's just a lot that's out there trying to prevent that from happening. I think, you know, some people that might have some insight into this have ended up missing or dead recently.
I was just
Um,
going to ask you, what do you think the aliens say about this,
right?
right?
Well, I mean, gosh, well, sadly, Chris Bledsoe, well, you know, I don't know that Chris Bledsoe's prediction was necessarily wrong.
I
Maybe
think
it
people
was.
expect it to be like this, right? Like, okay, what's the new knowledge? It's
Yeah.
what's the new knowledge? I didn't hear about it today. They may have it, right? Because like 3 days before Easter, a second Sphinx was located under a mound, like diagonally from the existing Sphinx that we all know. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. Now, the lady had originally told Chris Bledsoe, um, and for those of you who don't know, Chris Bledsoe is a UFO experiencer. He communicates with orbs on a daily basis. If you follow him on Instagram, he actually posted a beautiful purple orb this morning that he was communicating with
Oh, I gotta go follow
yesterday.
him.
Uh, and he communicates with an entity called the Lady, and she will give him information about the future. So she said when the bombs in 2026, April 2026, when the bombs between Iran and Israel start flying, the orbs will rise from the ocean and it will be unmistakable that this is contact, right? This is disclosure, this is contact with extraterrestrials. So let's see. You know, hasn't happened yet. Let's give it a minute. Hopefully it doesn't escalate to that level, but if it does, let's see what happens. And he also said when the star Regulus aligns with the Sphinx's gaze, that a new knowledge will be imparted to humanity. To me, and I interpreted this and I got shat all over on Instagram because I said, to me, that means a new reality. New knowledge equals a new reality because whatever knowledge this is, he said it could be Atlantis, information about Atlantis, could be the Hall of Records. And if you don't know what the Hall of Records is, that's a record of everyone's incarnation and reincarnation through the entire length of humanity that's
The
supposedly
Akashic record.
located, yeah, the Akashic Records, somewhere located in the ether, right, on the other side. Um, Maybe it's that. Maybe it's discovery of the Hall of Records. Let's give it a minute. So Regulus, he said initially was supposed to align with the Sphinx's gaze on Easter. There's information that it might not be until October, right? That like October 7th or 8th is when it actually aligns fully. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. Stop attacking this guy who was given this information by an entity. Let's see what happens with it. Let's see what happens. I'm going to be hopeful. I'm going to be hopeful because Baba Vanga, in 1936, she's like a Nostradamus type of woman. She died, I think, in 1996. But this prediction was in 1936 that in 2026 there would be disclosure, that AI would develop consciousness, like several things right along with what Chris Bledsoe has said. So I'm just watching, I'm just observing the rest of this year and hoping uh, something shifts, right? Consciousness, we get a new knowledge, we have disclosure. I'm going to try and be hopeful in the midst of all the darkness that we're in right now.
Well, there is the new S4, the Bob Lazar story, just came out on Amazon Prime. And I, of course, had to buy it like the day it came out and watch it. I've watched it like 3 times. And it's, to me, that is really fascinating because he talks about how the systems work on the UAP, because he actually got to see inside of what he calls the sport model of at S4, which is just right next to Area 51. There are like 9 hangars there that all have different UAPs in there. They have one of the jellyfish ones. They have and so a bunch of different ones, but the one he calls the sport model is like 3 levels. The middle level is where there were the seats, and the seats, everything's like welded together in this thing. And the seats were like, he said they were way too small for an average adult human to sit in. So instantly I was like, oh, well, duh, because it's for the grays.
Right. Right. They're like 4 feet tall, right? The
Right.
grays.
Yeah,
So
like my size. Well, I'm not quite that short, but pretty close. Um,
they're not that
anyway,
short.
so they have 3 components to this propulsion system. It's not really propulsion, it's an anti-gravity system. And they don't touch each other. In fact, one of them is on the lower level, but they all work in unison. So there's this kind of a cylinder with little tubes that come out of it on each end, and they rotate that. It's not, you don't have to get it spinning. It just rotate it to a certain degree, and it activates the system. And you can rotate it more to get it going a certain different directions. Anyway, fascinating. I highly encourage, if you're into UAP kind of things, go check out S4, the Bob Lazar story. But one of the things is that with all of these people disappearing, dying, that are all related either directly or peripherally to UAPs, to JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, to Los Alamos, where the Manhattan Project started. There are 12 scientists who have either died or gone missing in the last 18 months in connection to this field.
Yeah. That's, 2 or 3. Okay. It's a coincidence, not 12.
12.
Not
And,
12.
there are a few, like um, one just passed away this last week. He was 60 years old. Nick Pope. You may know him from Ancient Aliens. He apparently died of cancer. He was diagnosed in February and died in April, which I know happens.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just go through some of the others who have gone missing here. Pull up my notes. So the first one that I could find kind of in this realm was Frank Maywald, who worked for JPL, and on July 4th of 2024, he died at age 61. He was working on cryogenics and technologies that could detect life on other planets. Again, 61, he dropped dead, and no cause of death was given, and no autopsy was performed. 61 is awfully young to just be dropping dead for no reason. I might say that because that's just 9 years away from me, but
It's a lot closer for me.
right?
I'm
But
keeping up.
I mean, if you drop dead tomorrow, I'm going to request that someone does an autopsy and figures out why
Thank
you
you.
dropped dead. And I would hope that other people would do that too. 10 months after that, May 4th, 2025, Anthony Chavez of Los Alamos National Labs disappeared. He walked out of his house, no wallet, no keys, no phone, no nothing, and was never seen again. He wasn't a current employee of Los Alamos. He was a former employee, but that's as much information as I could find on what specifically he was doing. One of the ones that has made the more mainstream news is happened on June 22nd of 2025, and that's Monica Reza. She was hiking with some friends. She was about 30 yards behind them. They turned around. She's waving and smiling. And then a minute later, they turned around and she was gone. They looked around for hours. The police looked for weeks. Not a trace of her was found. She was known for patenting a nickel superalloy used in space travel. And she also worked closely with General William McCasland, who is another one who has gone missing.
Let me ask you, what do you think happened to her? What do you think happened?
I think, okay, let me put my tinfoil cap on. I should have really made a tinfoil cap for this one, but
Yeah, you
I
know
think
what? I've worn a tinfoil cap for a Halloween costume, and some random guy came up to me and licked my head, thought I was a Hershey's Kiss. So,
okay, I will
and that
not
is a
wear those
true
out in public
story.
then.
That was a true story, and I will never do that again because that was so gross.
um, yeah, no, I don't need random men licking my head. No, thank you. Um,
I was like, no,
or any part of
dude,
me, just stay
watch
away, random men.
signs. Why are you licking me? Let's watch
Right?
signs. No Gibson.
Come on, M. Night Shyamalan, come on. Uh, so I think that in the realm of this being the decade of disclosure and the
Mhm.
year or so that this has been predicted by a lot of different people. Bob Monroe
Mhm.
also talked about like the gathering where there's all these otherworldly entities that are gathering to watch this big kind of World War III, will it happen, won't it happen kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that there is a supergroup forming, in lack of a better word, that maybe these scientists are either being plucked up by an adversary or our own government because they have this knowledge, and the collective knowledge that they have is very interesting. It goes from cryogenics to metals to
Mhm.
alien life to water on distant planets. There's a lot of breadth in the people that have gone missing here. And so I'm wondering if they are either being abducted by an adversary to try to pick their brains, or that
Mhm.
our own government is collecting them to keep their information just to us. I don't know. Those are kind of
So
that's where my gut tells me.
she was clearly abducted, right? But the question is, how was she abducted? Because if it were some guy grabbing her, the brush would be rustling. There'd be some evidence. Her friends would have heard something happening. She wasn't that far behind them, right? So
Right.
it's like she was plucked. She was plucked, right? Soundless. So, what was the technology behind that? Was that extraterrestrials, or was that a technology our government currently possesses um, and used to take her?
Well, in the Bob Lazar story, they talk about these craft that we have, downed craft from alien technology, that we haven't necessarily been able to fully recreate, but
Reverse
they've been able to make it
engineer.
work. Right. We haven't been able to
Mhm,
reverse engineer it, so they
mhm,
say. Yeah,
mhm,
right. Um, but they can make the technology work. They've learned how to, like I said, they understand theoretically how it works. They just don't have the little piece of element
mhm,
115 that they need
mhm,
to actually like make the thing work. But they have enough to get it off the ground so they can do test flights. And in 1989, what I would not have given to have been one of Bob Lazar's close friends, because he decided to break his NDA and tell some of his friends and family about this. And all of these test flights happen on Wednesdays because it was the day of the least amount of traffic on the roads nearby. So he and his buddies like hid out and his friends got to see this test flight of this UFO flying around. And they went out a few different times. They actually got caught once, and Bob ran off into the desert so that he wouldn't get caught.
Mm-hmm.
And they took all their names and everything, and then they got stopped a little bit down the road. Like, Bob jumped back in the car after the people from Area 51 had contacted everybody, and a police officer stopped the car and called Area 51, and they said, "Yeah, we've got these 5 people." And they're like, "Wait, 5? We talked to 4." And that's how they figured out that Bob was telling people about this. So, yeah, it's just wild. There are more. There's another, June 26th, Melissa Casillas from Los Alamos National Labs. Her husband also worked there, and they'd gone to work together. She realized that she had forgotten her security badge to be able to get in, and drove back home, and decided she would just work from home since she was already there. And her daughter was there. She talked to her daughter. Her daughter went to work. She brought her daughter like Subway for lunch. And then that was the last time anybody saw her, apart from someone saw her like walking down a highway, and she just disappeared. Um,
So somebody saw
yeah,
her
I mean,
walking
there
down a
there are like
highway. So
5
there was like a
more.
glitch, right? There was a glitch, right? So
Well, and these people
if
are just wandering off. And to
these
me,
are
that's
not
where it's that
normal
MK
things.
Ultra thing,
Some kind of mind
they're,
control.
yep, that they are just being like led to um wherever, this secret meeting place, or led to their death, right? That they
Did
know
you
too much. And so some of these other scientists haven't necessarily gone missing, but they were killed. So, for example, Carl Grillmar, who was a Caltech scientist who was one of the first people to discover water on a like a distant planet, was shot dead on his front porch. And the official story is it was a carjacking. I don't know how many people have their car on their front porch. And the guy that shot him
at
had
least
just
make it make
recently,
sense? If you're
right?
making it up, at
The
least
guy
make it make sense, right?
had just been released on his own recognizance on another weapons charge, the guy that shot him. Just a little interesting side note. And then another scientist, let's see, Dr. Nuno Loureiro, was shot and killed in the foyer of his building. And they claim it was by the person who had done the Brown University shooting 2 days prior. Convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Convenient. And then finally, the one that's kind of raised the red flags for people, that really are starting to see the connections, because this guy had connections to at least 3 or 4 of these other scientists, is Major General William Nell McCasland, who
Mm-hmm.
on February 27th wandered away from his home without his wallet, without his ID, without his phone. And his wife called 911 3 hours later to say that he was missing and that it's not normal for him to do this. And again, he has not been seen. They put out a silver alert for him. But he used to be in charge of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is one of the major UAP, reverse engineering kind of hotbeds that we know of. So all of
So
the connections they have to each other, all of these people kind of working in the same field right around the time that disclosure is supposedly happening, when we have things like Lou Elizondo's book Imminent, and the what is it, the Age of Disclosure documentary, and a lot of these government people speaking out and telling us what
Tim Burchett,
if we knew, right?
right,
Tim Burchett said, if we knew what he knows, we wouldn't be able to sleep
right.
at night. And so there's clearly some sort of like ontological shift that's going to happen for people when this information comes out. So whether it's demons, as JD Vance claims, or whatever else it might be, come on, government, we're adults. Let us decide what's too much for us. What is not
So the
okay for
question,
me is them hiding it, especially if it is something that we as a species, as humanity, as earthlings should know about.
so the question is, whatever disclosure happens, is it real or is it just another psyop to keep people in fear, like a Project Bluebeam type thing?
So this has been my big question with Lou Elizondo, who I love. I really enjoy listening to him and watching him on documentaries. And I've listened to his book like 4 or 5 times now. And I appreciate him. But one of the things that raised a red flag for me with him is that he talks about how his entire career was in counterintelligence. I'm like, oh, so is this just another counterintelligence psyop?
And then how do you feel about Stephen Greer?
I think Stephen Greer is an alien. Um,
Really?
yeah, I do, but I think that I like I'm very interested in what he has to say. All of these people, I think that there's at least some element of truth to what they're saying, and I think that they're trying to tell us as much as they can without, I don't know, endangering themselves more. But
I
now
feel
with all
like the
these
ones,
UAP missing people,
yeah, I appreciate the information from them, but when they're too mainstream, it kind of sets off my spidey senses. Um, it's like they get too commercialized. So like Lou Elizondo fits into that category. Stephen Greer fits into that category. I bought his app CE5 Contact for like $15 during um the pandemic. And I was like, this is awful. He's taking $15 for this thing.
oof. Well, I'm
I
glad I
just
didn't buy that.
feel like they sometimes cross the line and it's more about this than the truth, you know, after a certain point.
And what do you think
So
about the congressional hearings on UAPs and the David Grush and Alex Dietrich and the military people who have come forward?
I found David Grush to be very genuine, and I believe that what he said was the truth, but I also feel like everything he said was pre-approved.
Definitely.
So, once you get into other people telling you, oh, it's okay for you to say this, then it kind of waters it down for me. And we have better videos than those two couple of stupid frickin' Tic Tac videos or the little blip across the screen UAP videos that they had shown, during those hearings. Come on,
Right.
all these sightings from everywhere for
Well,
decades
and
now,
the way
and you
that
pick these two blurry things. Come on.
the way that Lou Elizondo explains it is that these are, trained observers
Mhm.
because they're in the military. They've been taught how to tell the difference between this type of thing and this type of thing from a very far distance. And but there are a lot of trained observers in the world, and with I I don't think that AI emerging at this time around disclosure is a coincidence either, because like you said, there is so much footage from individuals who have seen and captured orbs and the boogosphere and all these different things, the phoenix lights, there were tons of people who caught footage of that. So why is it that we only consider in Congress, they only consider footage from the military?
Exactly.
So
And why haven't we cracked open that sphere?
the boogosphere,
Yeah,
they
crack it
have, well, they don't want to break it. I don't know
open. But we have
exactly
to
why they
learn about
haven't.
it. Uh,
They've done a lot of different imaging on it to see what's inside. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Part of it is because it's not in military hands. They
Mhm.
have very much kept it in control. I think it's still in Mexico. They're not
Mhm.
giving it to the US. The US has tried to come and get it, and then they
I
tried to
bet.
like trick them into giving it to them. I mean, all the tricks that the US plays when they're trying to get what they want. And so I don't know. I'm okay with it being in its original state and studying
Mhm.
it as much as possible. But
Or I was thinking just drill a little hole in it and put a scope in there. Let's just see, you know, just so we can learn more about it.
right.
Um,
Maybe
you
they
know,
are. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I would hope so. I would hope so, but
Well,
so
it
I think
has
some stuff's gonna happen this year. This is like a big year for um, predictions, disclosure. I
I
feel
think
like we
2027 is also another like year that has been very much about
mhm,
2027, 2028. Like so within the next year or two, I people are going to have to think about their faith. They're going to have to think about our role in the universe. They're going to have to think about things like what is outside of time space.
mhm. I had read that 2028 is the year for time travel being disclosed and it going more mainstream as a concept.
It already exists. They just
Oh yeah,
aren't telling
I
us about
I
it.
think Tesla nailed that one. Right, I think Tesla nailed that one, and we've had that technology for a very long time.
Tesla nailed a lot, which is why
Yeah,
he was put down and
yeah.
ridiculed in the time for being crazy. Just like they've done with a lot of people who have come up with free energy machines. They label them crazy, they steal their designs. There've been several instances of this over the last 40, 50, 60 years and longer since Tesla's time. They don't want us to have free energy
When
because
I
they
was a
want us to
kid,
keep working.
I was probably maybe 9, 9 or 10. I had a dream about this car that ran on wind power. And I drew this thing and I showed it to my mom. And it was like the ugliest car. It was ugly. And I'm like, this is where it
Like a
just
Tesla.
sucks. It looks just like the Tesla Cybertruck. I swear. If you took the picture of what I drew when I was 9 and you put it next to the Cybertruck, you'd be like, she drew a Cybertruck. It was
A
crazy. It was
dumpster on
crazy.
wheels.
Yeah, exactly. So I
But
think
with
some people are tapped in, is what I'm actually trying to say. I know
right.
I'm tapped into other things. I think Tesla was tapped in. I
You
think
know,
there's always like a 5% of the population is tapped in at any one point in time.
I remember specifically in 6th grade when I got my first Walkman and was so excited to be able to like bring my music with me without it being on my giant purple boombox that I had.
Purple.
Um um and I remember telling my friend Dawn, I was like, what I really want is I just want all of my music in my hand. And I want to be able to just access anything just right here as I was holding my Walkman. And
Mm-hmm.
now we can do that. Now we have literally all of the world's knowledge right here in our hand. And for me it was the dream of being able to have whatever music I want. I couldn't even envision that it would be all of collective humanity's knowledge essentially. But for me, one of the things that's most frustrating because we do have access to whatever we want to learn right here is the amount of willful ignorance in this world and people who choose not to be informed. And this is how we end up with cults like Trumpism, because people choose not to be informed.
And that's a whole other episode.
Well, it's been a heck of a week, and I feel like we've covered a lot of topics today, and I think we could go into any one of these into a full episode. So, you guys, let us know in the comments, what do you want us to do a full episode on? Are there other conspiracies out there that you've heard about and you haven't heard many people talking about, you want us to explore? We're open.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for tuning in. If you are a UAP scientist, please don't go for a walk or a hike.
Seriously.
Let's stay feral, America.
We'll see you soon.
Have a great day.